Going into sort of the OHL part of it, and again, Stephen Ellis is with us at Daily Faceoff. When you look at the OHL players that were away at this event, got it pulling up on the screen here, the whole roster, but the OHL players are there in bold. I know there's a couple guys that you wanted to discuss, in depth, but just in generality, from the OHL perspective, how do you think that they fared in this tournament, along with Jay McKee being an assistant coach?
I'd say it was a mixed bag. Like, I think overall there was a few players you wanted to see a bit more from. I was really actually happy with more about how he played yesterday, but Alessandro Diorio, just a guy that's missed so much time this year due to injury of Sarnia, and I thought he looked really good yesterday. Like, he showed why he could be a first-round player, because he's very versatile. He could be a shooter, but he could be tough. And then you look at someone like, I thought Beckham Edwards had a good two-way game. I thought Nikita Klepov was pretty good in the offensive zone. Jovanovski, I thought, looks good yesterday. I know didn't come out with the win in the third game, but I felt like after he allowed that third goal, which, to be fair, was like a power play goal, I believe, he was really able to lock in and dial in. So I thought he was good. And then you look at some of the other guys here, like Chase Reed, we knew he was going to be a top-end guy to watch. Belchitz, the same thing. So Caleb Maholtra, I thought, was probably the CHL's best player. Like, I'd say overall, I was happy with what I saw from a lot of guys. There was a few players that I was hoping to see a bit more from, specifically Ryan Rubrick. I was kind of hoping to see a bit more from him. But I'd say Ethan Belchitz, I liked him, I think, more than some other people did, because I still like what he does away from the puck. I know he didn't go out there and have any explosive games, but I feel like he was very physical, and the NTDP had a tough time dealing with him.
Brooks Rogowski was the only player that was named to the tournament but was unable to play due to injury. You mentioned Caleb Malhotra as a guy you really wanted to hone in on, was named the captain of this team. And what were your general thoughts on the now Brantford Bulldogs, young player after that trade last season, coming over from the BCHL, drafted originally by Kingston, not signed? How do you think he's been adjusting to his first OHL season, and as well, how do you think that he played in this little mini tournament?
I know a lot of people heading into this were like, can he go and escape the shadow of being on a team that is as deep as the Bulldogs and go out and shine? And I think he did. He played on the power play, played on the penalty kill. He scored a shorthanded goal. He made some outstanding passes. Like, he's a high-end playmaker. And you watch him, and it's just like, he's got so many different tools in his tool belt. He's also got a good frame, too. He's 6'2", and he's strong, and his hockey sense is really impressive. He's good in the dot. Like, there are so many things he does well. Like, in a year where there's not a ton of high-end centers, I could see him going 10th, 11th, or 12th in the draft type thing. Like, I could see him going as high as that, which not a lot of people expected. But I think he's one of those guys that is taking advantage of an opportunity here where, okay, not a lot of middlemen. I'm playing well. I'm on a team that's getting a lot of attention. Let's see what's going to happen. I'm going to be able to see Brantford for the first time this season on Friday when they play Brampton. So I'm looking forward to seeing kind of just how dominant this team can be. But when it comes to Maholtra, I just think both games, he was noticeable both ends of the ice. He's a really good 200-foot player, and I think you got to love what he.
Chase Reed, probably a little bit weird for him being an American kid and playing for Team CHL against an American team. He was a mid-round pick, but that's mostly because of him being committed to NCAA before the ruling had changed this last season. So he's come in to the Sioux Greyhounds and done a fantastic job for a team that looks like they're going to be taking a step forward. What did you see from the Sioux Greyhounds defenseman Chase Reed in this 2-game tournament?
Well, the Greyhounds just got Colin Fitzgerald, and that's going to make them look very dangerous. So good for them on that. With Chase Reed, I was talking to some people before this series and thought, yeah, Chase Reed could go in the top of the draft. I'm like, whoa, okay, let's get a closer look. And he was not my favorite defenseman, but consistently, I really liked what he did. He scored that really nice goal in the first game. I thought he was always engaged with the puck. He served as a 4-forward a lot. And just, you see a lot of traits where it's like, it feels like he's not even close to being fully developed. It feels like his game, because he kind of had a bit of a weird start last year where he wasn't good in the USHL. He was good in the didn't even make the USHL, went to the NAHL, and then went to the OHL and played really well. It feels like he had some time to catch up here. And it looks like he's just playing with so much confidence. He's so dynamic. He can do so many things really, really well. And I thought he was probably the CHL's best defenseman, overall defenseman in the first game. I thought Carson Carrolls was probably better defensively. But with Chase Reed, like, I see a guy who could go in the top 5 of the draft, especially if teams are a little worried about someone like Ivor Stenberg not being very big. I think Chase Reed at 6'2" and his mobility is going to excite teams a lot.
Other than Beckham Edwards and Zach Jovanovski, all the OHLers that were at this Prospects Challenge were A grades in the upcoming or for Central Scouting in the most recent list. Steven, do you think, again, like it's hard to gauge what something like this, a small sample size of if it can rise, you can rise or fall in anything like this. It just gives a lot of opportunity for different scouts to be able to see guys maybe for the first time that don't get the opportunity to go down to all the different junior rinks. So do you think that there was anybody that from something like this that can have their draft stock be changed in any way, or when it comes to these tournaments, like how much of a sample size and how much of a grain of salt do you have to take with this?
I think there's a couple things you could look at here. For one, it's more about seeing how players shine against other players, like other top end players. And if someone is completely invisible, I think that's a concern. But then you look at other situations where it's like, it is only a 2-game sample size, right? Like, it's not a big one. It's not going to change anything. I do think a lot of scouts came away looking at Ryan Rubik and thought, this might not be a first-round player anymore. And I think it's just a bit of a disappointment because he has been so good. And there were some people thought he'd be top 5 heading into the season, but it just felt like he was invisible. And that has been the case a lot of situations this year. I think I'm trying to think of who would be another good one. I think Chase Reed also really kind of established himself as a guy that if you weren't looking at him as a top 5 player, I think you are now. And then Diorio, I think, is another one just because there hasn't been many games that he's played this year. Like, this was like essentially a quarter of what he's done already this year. I think people come away and say, yeah, like he's always impacting big games, whether it be, Kalinka, whether it be the U18s. He always seems to be involved in big and making an impact. So I think he's going to turn some heads.